How you doing? This is Tom McGivern. I'm a licensed real estate broker associate. And welcome to the Not Just Real Estate podcast. I'm doing one live actually today from an open house in Farmingville on Old Medford Avenue. So I may get interrupted. I apologize for that. Little disclaimer, we're an equal housing broker, and my opinions don't necessarily represent the opinions of the broker. I'm not really going to share any opinions. Well, maybe a little bit, but today I want to talk to you, by myself, actually. Colleen is at another open house, so she's not with me today. That said, today is a Sunday, and as always, we're always doing open houses, and a lot of people coming in and out. A lot of people with real estate agents coming to open houses without their real estate agent, and that, forget about my own personal opinion about that. It's, as a real estate agent, you're always kind of bummed out that somebody's, working with someone else. But I'm going to talk a little bit about that dynamic for you as a buyer when you're out, looking at houses and when you're working with a real estate agent, what that means. I'm also then going to talk, that's like the what's up. What's up is category, which is the first part of every program we do, is what's up with your real estate agent. The second part is really the housing market. I'm going to go over some of what I've said and what other people are saying about how hot the market is. And then I'll make an announcement at the end. Always end with an announcement. So first things first, what's up with real estate agents and working with a real estate agent? What does that mean? So when you're working with an agent, there's two ways to look at it. One is they're a buyer's agent working for you, and you've signed a buyer-broker agreement, which is an exclusive right for them to represent you, and you have to use them for a specified amount of time. That's written in a contract. That's basically like a listing. If you were to sell a house, you sign a listing agreement. It's the same thing. You're signing an agreement to be represented. Hold on one second. You have any questions?
Not this time. I'm going to definitely
Okay.
for a call, but let her know.
Fantastic. Thanks. You can show yourselves out. James, it was really nice meeting you.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. So, one of the things that what that means is basically you sign an agreement, and that person, that real estate agent, is going to work with you and for you on your behalf and representing your interests. Then there's another form. It's called the New York State Agency Disclosure Form that everyone's supposed to sign, and when you first meet with a real estate agent, and it just kind of goes over who is working for who, and it's New York State's way of helping consumers determine, who's, that's it, or who's working for who's being represented here. And some people will sign that. That's not an agreement. That is just a disclosure form. So I want to clarify that. It's called the New York State Agency Disclosure. It says right on it, this is not a contract. And when you sign anything, you're supposed to get a carbon copy of that. So if you sign one and it says buyer's agent, and they represent you as a buyer's agent, it'll say, a buyer's agent is an agent who has been hired by the buyer to represent their best interests. Vice versa, a seller's agent or a listing agent would be the exact opposite. And then there's a broker's agent, who is an agent who actually is representing the seller's best interests, but is working with a buyer and taking a buyer out and showing them houses. You can work with either one, a broker agent or a buyer's agent. My point here is this. When you get asked at open houses, when you go to an open house, because buyers, everyone loves to go to an open house. Kills a couple hours every Sunday, right? So when you do go and the agent asks you, hey, you're working with an agent, you kind of have to determine if you are or you aren't. And from there, before you go to an open house, if you're working with an agent under an exclusive agreement to be represented, meaning you signed an agreement with them that says you're working with them for X amount of time. If you signed one, it's best to consult the real estate agent, the buyer's agent, and say, hey, I'm going to some open houses, or hopefully they're finding you the open houses to go to, and then making phone calls as a professional to let the agent know who's hosting the open house, hey, I'm sending over John and Sally or Tim and John, and they're coming over today at around 1 o'clock during your open house. Just wanted to make sure you're okay with that. Phone call, text, and an email to those, that agent who's representing the house, is hosting the house. It's a professional courtesy, and it really lays the groundwork. It's an extension of what I call, the ultimate professional. And, if your real estate agent isn't doing that, they're actually kind of hurting your desire to be represented in the marketplace. Let me tell you how that works. You're working with a real estate agent. You sign an agreement. They're a buddy of yours or whatever. They talk to you and you like them, or you just sign something. It says that you're going to be represented for, an X amount of time. You start working with them. You go to open houses and you're finding everything, and then you're doing most of the work, or maybe they're sending you some stuff, via email. They're finding some houses, but you're going to open houses by yourself. You walk in the door, you tell the agent who's hosting the open house that you're working with an agent. What happens is most real estate agents don't like that, who are hosting open houses. Again, personal opinions aside, everyone wants to sell a house. I'm not going to get in the way of anything. My interest is, from a seller's standpoint, is I'm just representing the seller's interest, and they want to sell the house. So I get over that really quick. But if your agent isn't, making those calls and representing you, then you, as a buyer, the real estate agent that you're dealing with, you make an offer, they might make things more difficult to navigate, and you don't want to do that. So my point is, what's up with your real estate agent is they should be on top of their game. That's what they're getting paid to be and to do. So, have a chit chat with them if you have any questions, of course, about buyer, being represented, by a buyer's agent or a broker's agent. Either way, give me a call, 631-831-9048 is my cell. All right, so that's enough on that. What's up with your real estate agent? They need to be representing you, okay, period. So, and when you go to open houses, give them a heads up. Sometimes your people just stop in, hey, if it's unavoidable, you're just driving somewhere and you see an open house sign, you pull over, just shoot them a text and be like, hey, I'm going into 123 ABC Street. We just saw the sign, just giving you a heads up. And just go from there. It happens. It's totally cool. Whatever, man. They're open houses. I get it. But every opportunity, you should keep your agent in the loop on things. It's important. So the housing market. The housing market, everyone's saying, is hot. And in my last, in our last podcasts, Colleen and I talked about how hot the real estate market is. And, it is. Okay. But the one thing that people aren't paying attention to is for anybody who's thinking about selling out there, it's a very complex market. So now it's different. It's a very different market. So when we say the market's hot, the market is got an interesting dynamic with supply and demand. Obviously, supply is down, demand is up, right? Interest rates are still low. There's stock markets trading at 25,000, right? The Dow Jones. There's a lot to be looking forward to. GDP is growing, employment is good, jobs are being created, all that stuff, right? But that's on a large level, right? Macro level, I think, yeah. So but when you come down to the micro level in the housing market, and then you break it down into, the area, like this is a Long Island housing market. Let's drill into Suffolk County, right, where we're based out of. My one office, one of 70 plus offices with Douglas Elliman. Our team manages, anywhere between 20 to 40 listings at a time. And we work with a lot of home buyers. And the hotness of the market isn't really, hey, slap a for sale sign on it. Take 3 or 4 or 5 photos with your iPhone and just stick it out there and boom, it's going to sell overnight. That is not the market we're in. And it for a couple of reasons. One is the digital consumer, right? Everyone is a digital consumer today. The cell phone, if you don't have a smartphone, they say you got a dumb phone, right? So With a person with a smartphone, it's a whole new ballgame. They are accessing information and they want to know and see whether it's online before they get there, what they're getting themselves into. So the better you can be represented in every facet, digitally, legally, your advertising and marketing and your representation into the marketplace, in my opinion, is right now we're just starting the beginning of a new age of real estate. The real estate market changes, the housing market, the economic market, right? The world, it changes every couple of years, 4 or 5 years. 5 years ago it was short sales and foreclosures and the market was totally different, right? Actually 4, 5, 6 years ago. And now we've come out of an economic depression or contraction. Now we're really the housing market is where it is, right? And I'm not smart enough to figure out why supply is low and demand is high and all these other things. I know there's reasons for it, but forget about all that stuff. In this new age, the real estate broker, okay, the broker company, the agent, you really need to weed through. And I know everyone's got a friend and all that other stuff, but man, if they are not doing this as their sole or primary source of career, source of income, source of professional dedication, forget it. You are way behind the 8 ball, way behind. Where I work with a lot of investors right now, and they renovate homes and they put them back on the market. And I cannot tell you how many times, dozens in the last year or so alone, where I have seen, an investor take a house, they flip it, they hire the same agent and help them find the deal, and that agent doesn't really know what they're doing, or they're with a company that's just not doing right by the consumer, the seller, and there's a whole combination of things going on there. But ultimately, they don't sell it. Then the investor, I earn their business, they give me the business, and I put it back on the market the way it's supposed to be. I test the market with the pricing, I test the market with the advertising, and then we roll it out. And we're selling for $20,000 to $30,000 to $50,000 more. And that is no joke, that is no lie, that is just the way it is. And that comes down to getting back to the housing market. It's hot if you have the tool, right? A broker that's representing you, just like a buyer, right? That agent's representing you in the marketplace. Well, as a seller, you want an agent who's going to represent your home and you into the market. It's interesting, very, very interesting. And then you have the complexities of sellers like, wow, I have nothing to, there's nothing out there for me to buy. Wow, that's a big issue right now. And you need the broker who understands how to do the things that I'm talking about, which is test the market with your pricing. Keep, a limited release of the listing. Many real estate agents and brokerages do not understand that concept. They don't have the tools. They don't have the reach, the marketing reach, the client reach, in-house client reach. Element.com, our team website, which is BrentElliott.com. It's all one big, gigantic website. We all have our own, but we as a company receive upwards of 280 to over 300,000 users using that website every single month or every other month on average. That's a lot of people who have signed up. You sign up. Those are 300,000 signups. Those are users. Those are people in our system, not on Zillow, on our website. Those are people that have said, hey, you know what? I'm working with a Douglas Elliman real estate agent, and I'm, looking at property. Okay. I can market directly to those people. That's just one example. Directly to those people. I list a home, I can market directly before it's on MLS, before it's on Realtor.com, Trulia.com, or any other .com. I'm already accessing those clients of my company. I think, for instance, right now, in the town of Patchogue, we have about 119 users looking right now for a 4-bedroom, 2.5-bath house, priced between $300,000 and $450,000. I mean, I can click a button, load a listing, click a button, and market directly to them before it's on Zillow. Testing a higher price, testing a lower price, right? And before something comes on the MLS and goes out to every single website out there, there's a lot of things we do, and it's almost like a science. So that's your hot market. It's a hot market if you are with the representation it takes to get things done the right way in the digital age of real estate. And this is, again, only the beginning. If you have any questions, you can always email me. This is at TomGiverin.com/NJRE podcast. You can go there. We're also featured on Spreaker.com. That's like speaker with an R after the P, Spreaker.com. And love to hear from you. Next week, Colleen and I are trying to set up a podcast with a mortgage banker that we met, and she's really nice. We did a podcast a couple of weeks ago about the process of buying a house. So if you look on this playlist, you'll see it. So if you're a buyer out there and you have questions about, hey, what's the process of buying a home? That's a great podcast. I mean, fantastic. And we're looking to have her on and just learn a little bit about her and the general idea of, hey, how does it work with regard to getting pre-approved? All right, and she'll take us through it. Her name's Carla Capabianco with Reliance First Capital. So that's next week. I'm hoping we'll set that up. Colleen and I will be back next week. And again, I want to say thank you so much. And if you're a business owner and you want to hook up with us and just say, hey, we'd like to be on the show, or whatever it is, you want to make a business to business connection, would love to hear from you. Plumbers, architects, handymans, attorneys, love to have some people on the show and talk about different topics. Okay, thanks a lot for listening, and we look forward to speaking again. And always never forget, we're your friends in real estate. Thanks a lot. I'm Tom McGivern. Have a great day.